step 3, which is once you have your strips cut, you are going to start braiding. Okay, so and it's really important that you make your strips uneven. Otherwise, if you have them all lined up, they're literally all the knots are going to be in the same, and then they're not going to look pretty. You're going to have like this knotty section. So I'm going to take all 3 together. Okay, and obviously my Walmart bag is much longer, so I might actually switch that out for right now, and just use another Walmart bag until we start adding things in. So if it's like that significant, probably change it out. All right, so I got my 3 bags, and you're gonna put them down in front of you because you're gonna braid them. So you're gonna take them, kind of put them together, get some tape, and tape them to the canvas. So a lot of you guys know how to braid. So you're gonna take 2, 2, and 2. And then those of you who don't, well, there you go. You're gonna separate all 3. Don't pull too hard, so you don't want it too tight, and you don't want it too loose. Okay? And let's see if we can. So you're going to cross over. And that one's going to go over. So it's over, under, over, under. And just kind of pull your tabs. You can make it a little tight, but I wouldn't do it too tight. So this one from back goes over to the front. And if you pull too tight, the tape will pop off the canvas. Okay? Over, under, the one on top, center one stays stationary. Again, don't make it too tight, but you want it a little snug so that your piece will hold its form. Left, then right. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Pull your tails all the way out so you don't tie them up in front of you. So you're putting those 2 strands together. So it should be consistent. Some of you guys may move faster in braiding versus others. Also, you want to make sure though, I'm telling you guys, you want to make sure it looks flat, okay? Again, like I said, make sure it's important that you guys had, just always check your tape, okay? Left, right, left, over the top. So you can see your braids happening. Again, left. So now I'm going right, left, right. So always going over the top. Left, right, pulling out your tails. You want to keep it taut. It's not super tight, but it's not super loose. If it's too loose, when you start building your basket, the walls are going to be too soft and they won't hold together. And you'll have like this flopsy thing that won't hold its form. Over the top. You can move it up. Just make sure your tape is up there. Okay, so right was left, so over, left, over the top to the right. Make sure you pull your tails out. Again, your tape comes undone. Press it down, don't pull too hard. To the right. It's okay if you have little pieces sticking out. Kind of gives a basket a full texture effect. If your tape's not sticking, then make sure you come get another piece of tape. So I'm holding here, and then I'm holding right here, and the other one in these two fingers. So I'm supporting this center. Those of you who can't braid, so your tail always goes in these two fingers. These two fingers are working. This is working. This is the center piece, right, that you just put over the top. So right now, we're gonna go from left, so wrap it over the top, pull the one from under the bottom, move it to the left. Again, holding with these two fingers underneath, over the top, so now you go over right, pull the underneath piece over to the right, and then left. Again, some of you guys may braid faster than others, that's okay. Just make sure, those of you who are my fast braiders, who pay attention, this shouldn't be too loose, too tight. If it's too tight, you're gonna have a hard time getting the needle through. If it's too loose, it won't hold its form. So pull your tails out because your paper, your plastic is really long. Okay? You have some people at your table that understand braiding a little more than others. Maybe your partners at your table can kind of help when you get to this point. Just keep in mind, you have a centerpiece. You have a centerpiece right here. My thing is getting really long. Let's see. Okay, so you always have a center one that you're putting in the center. So right now this is the highest, so that's supposed to go over, so that was my left into the center, go to the right, pull the center up over the top, right, left, right, left. Again, don't pull too tight, don't have it too loose. Pull your tails out, just a lot easier to work with so it doesn't knot up. If you start knotting it up, it's going to be, some of you guys with long hair know that you don't like pull the tails out while you're braiding, just kind of getting a knot, and then you have to take everything out again, okay? So if you're in the middle of braiding, it's time to clean up. You need to do two different things. One, kind of gather it all together like here, and just kind of make your little half loop like this, like that, and just wrap it around like you're tying a bow. Tuck it in. Make sure you get them all, and kind of pull. So it looks like this, and then you can put it in your bag, and then your tails are still sticking out. So when you come back the next day, grab the little knot and pull like this, and then just kind of hold your braid part so it doesn't come undone, okay? And then some of you, it just will stay, right? And then just be careful as you put it in your bag. I would just kind of wrap this like this, and then just carefully like wrap it in your hand like so. Okay, so there's two different ways you can store it. So, and if it does come unbraided a little bit, you can just continue braiding it. Okay, and then top half you can just kind of just keep the tape up there. Okay, and then when you start back up again, retape it to the surface of the table. If it gets to a point that's so long, you can kind of find a spot in the room to tape off your braid, your rope, because that's basically what you're making. You're making a rope, a braided rope, so you can find a place, tape it on the wall, so you can continue braiding. Because the goal is you want to make sure that your braid is nice and taut, like so that when you're moving, and this has to be like kind of taut so you don't have a loose braid, okay? I spun it. So remember, I was working from the top. Some people work from underneath. So this was on the top, so my neck strip was left on the top, pull right from the top, pull left, right, and I'm off the screen, but I'm close to the end, so I'm going to show you basically what to do when you are ending your first 3 strips. So let me move my top half of my braid so that you guys can see. So like I said, you find a spot on the wall if your piece gets really long. And at some point, you're probably gonna have to stand and do this, just so it's easier. Over the top right, over the top left. Make sure your braid doesn't twist on you too. Again, make sure it's not too tight. You're gonna have a hard time braiding. A hard time sewing. Retape my piece further up so you guys can see. So at this point I'm standing just because it's easier. So basically you've taken your two strips, the three strips, but you're putting two together, right? So that it can be somewhat thicker. Any of you that have younger siblings who have long hair and you don't know how to braid, now you do. Alright, so I'm at the end. You can see that these are all different sizes, okay? So at this point, what I want to do is, I'm just kind of straightening out my braid. And I put it right here on the table. Then I'm going to get another strip. And I'm going to attach it to the bottom. So there's two ways to actually do this, but I'm actually we're gonna do this easier than the first one. Because the first one requires sewing and that's never a good thing. So when you attach your new strip, give yourself a little bit of kind of a distance, a neck. That's probably like, I don't know, maybe 1.5 inches. So you crisscross, so you're making a square knot, okay? And you don't want to pull too hard because you don't want to break the plastic. So so they're crisscross, go under the other, and then my fingers in the center, cross over the top, basically like two bunny ears. Tuck one underneath. When you pull your finger out, it comes out the back side. So see how it kind of creates that square? And pull. Okay? And that will feed in. So you can do that to all of these so you have consistent strips. So you can, if you have different colors, that's fine. You can mix and match them. So again, over the top, crisscross, under, create that square, pull. And then just kind of pull it lightly. It's okay, you have tails, because they're all going to get braided in, okay? Another bag. So here's the next one. This one's a short tail. Tuck, crisscross, finger, tuck it in, pull. So you're gonna, basically you end up with 6 pieces, but you're doubling. So here's another tail. Another one. Cross. You're looking for that square pull, and kind of just tautly pull that. And then, so you'll start going through your bags really fast. That's why start off with like 25, 30, and we'll see, typically it takes 50 bags to make a good sized pot. Okay, so you can do this to save time to cut your bags at home. So then you have all your tails here. So you want to make sure, like, this one's kind of short, so if this looks like it's not going to make it in, obviously you can kind of pull it down too. But you can undo. So again, watch your tails, because there's like all new rope. So the goal is that you don't want to tie it up in a knot. So I'm actually going to untie this, unbraid these a little bit. And again, making sure they're all separated. And that's why it's important that you guys are standing at some point to do this, so that you don't tie everything in a knot. So like this right here, tail is just going to get braided in. So as of right now, this can go underneath. I'm going to open this up. Okay, so that goes there. Okay. So make sure you have your 2 tails together that you started with. That would be a shame that they're not. Alright, and this little piece you can kind of trim off later. So again, have your pieces together where they're together. Like, don't grab something else that doesn't belong. So mine was, again, I was at the top. So I was at the right. So now I'm going to go left over the top, bringing your tails. Again, so any of your tails, just kind of tuck them in so that, where you can actually kind of twist them into the basically the plastic rope, I call it, I guess. So then you're going to go over to the left. And over the right. And this is why you have to keep your tails all different lengths, because then it doesn't, it won't look pretty and you'll have a hard time stitching them. So like these two are kind of a little close, but that's okay. Over to the right, again, pull your tails all the way out. Not too tight, not too loose. Going left, going right, going left. Like, really pull those tails out so that you don't get them tied up in a knot by your feet. And again, you're going to have to stand up once you get to this part. And you can find a spot in the classroom to tape off your braid. This makes it a lot easier. Okay, so going right. So this is where we are. So this is where I joined my pieces. So these little tiny pieces later on, I can go kind of cut them off. All right, so I'm gonna continue braiding and I will come back and show you what I have.